This is Flat Out Agility, an Australian agility podcast. I'm Grace. When we think about agility, what do we picture? Maybe we picture the big events like Crufts or AWC or Westminster. Maybe we think about the international teams competing at EO or WAO. Maybe we think about the top handlers posting their runs on their highly followed Instagram accounts. Dogs flying, handling precise, skills on point. That's the version of the sport we see on social media. It's what gets shared, what gets celebrated, what gets talked about. But let's be real for one moment. That's not what the vast majority of agility looks like. The everyday of agility looks very different. Most agility handlers are just regular people. We live spread out all over the world. We fit our training into our various other responsibilities. We run with the dogs we have. The largest demographic in agility is women, and they're usually above 40. They're not elite athletes, they're not full-time professionals. They're mostly older women who have found their passion, their hobby, their sport. Most handlers in agility will never compete at big events. They will never travel far for trials, and they will never be top handlers on internationally competitive teams. The elite level athletes in this sport are inspiring. They're absolutely worth following and listening to, but they're also a tiny minority of what this sport is. Their experience is not universal. This sport centers the elite voices, but it's important to remember that the sport is actually sustained by non-elite participants. All the clubs, all the local trials, all the weeknight classes, all the volunteers, all the people showing up and doing the work. That's what holds the sport up. The people that are fortunate enough to make a living from agility are doing so because the average, regular, nobody handlers are paying to learn from them. The top level may define excellence, but the base defines the sport. You could argue there's a responsibility there to be accessible and realistic and to consider the average experience. And we're not all operating under the same circumstances. Some people have better access to equipment or to coaching or to opportunities. Some people have dogs that are naturally suited to the sport. Some people have physical limitations which hold them back. Some people are just starting at it later in life. Some people live far away from any clubs or training facilities. Not everyone is starting from the same place. And yet we're all here anyway. We're all choosing to spend our time, our money, and our energy on this. Yes, we might be working towards titles or qualifications, but those are really just markers of progress, proof in some small way of what we've achieved. But that's not the reason we do it. We do this because we care about the sport itself. There's a scene in the movie Whip It that I think about a lot. Toward the end of the film, the antagonist Maven confronts the protagonist Bliss about what the sport of roller derby means to her.
Hey, guess how old I am? 27? Oh, that's sweet. I'm 36. Guess when I started skating? I was 31. Because it took me that long to find one thing that I was really good at. And you know what? I worked my ass off to get it.
I was 17 when I first saw this movie, the same age as the main character, and I didn't fully get where Maven was coming from. But now I know exactly what she means. I'm 33. I got into agility 8 years ago, but it took me that many years and 3 dogs to finally get to where I am, having just put my first title on a dog. I know that I'll never be a top competitor. I know I'll never compete overseas. Attending a trial interstate recently was huge for me, going from a 10-dog trial to a trial with more than 120 dogs. I live in Darwin, Australia. I have no illusions about where I'm at in my life and in my chosen sport. But this is my chosen sport, and it's important to me. When I got my dog Luca 10 years ago, I consciously decided to pursue positive reinforcement when raising and training him. It was important to me that I was going to be different from my societal upbringing of looking at dogs through a dominance lens, with no flexibility for imagining alternatives. I worked really hard from day one to approach my dog kindly and with consideration for his point of view. I sometimes describe my obsession with dogs as a kind of religion. Every day I make offerings to the little gods in my home. I carry out the rituals they require, daily meditations in nature, regular pilgrimages to sites of significance, marking of seasonal cycles. I learn the shared language, I study the scriptures, I listen to the sermons. I keep shrines to the old gods now gone, and when the little gods in my home go, I will recite their names in devotion. Training my dogs is part of this for me. As described in the book The Secret History of Kindness by Melissa Holbrook Pearson, once they see positive reinforcement in action, it looks like justice, the very manifestation of a most vaunted ideal. Centering positive reinforcement in my philosophical approach to my dogs is like absolution. Training dogs kindly feels like justice. The constant strive to train better is like adhering to religious practice in a way. Agility is just another facet of that for me. It's forging connection in the chaos. Like in the film Pacific Rim, you can always find me in the drift.
I'll always be here for you. You can always find me in the drift.
I am always looking for that connection with my dog, finding the flow, feeling the euphoria of doing something so physical and mindful and joyful all at once. Agility is precious to me, and running with my dog is precious to me, and I want to hold on to that always. Agility is a hobby. It's a sport. It's an industry. And when we talk about changes in the sport, whether that's rules or trends or expectations, we just have to remember who makes up the majority of it. You don't have to be elite to matter. Your experience in agility is valid. Your relationship with your dog is the center. But whatever you do, don't ever take your dog for granted. This has been Flat Out Agility. Be kind to dogs.